to a special edition of The Ed Show. I'm Ed Schultz, in for Rachel Maddow tonight. She'll be back tomorrow night. Battleground story in this segment. There's not a single American out there who won't be untouched by this tax compromise the president just announced hours ago.
I have no doubt that everyone will find something in this compromise that they don't like. In fact, there are things in here that I don't like, namely the extension of the tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans and the wealthiest estates. But these tax cuts will expire in 2 years.
Well, the wealthiest people in the country will continue to make out like bandits for at least the next 2 years. The president, I think, is punting to the next election, but I wonder if he's actually willing to have the fight in 2 years, or are we going to be back to the same old conversation? The Republicans, of course, they're praising the compromise. Hell, they won. I want to know if the folks representing the working Americans think this is a good deal. For more, let's bring in Leo Gerard, President of the United Steelworkers. Mr. Gerard, you heard the president tonight. He says he didn't like the deal, but it's essential. It's not perfect. It's essential. Do you agree?
No, I don't, Ed. I think the fight would have been essential. I think the fight would have been perfect. It's about time that we stand up for ordinary Americans. It's about time we stand up for jobs. These guys are running their mouths all the time about the deficit, the deficit, the deficit, and they showed their hypocrisy about holding up and holding unemployed to ransom so that the ultra-rich could get their cut, their tax cut. Look, at what we need to take care of this deficit and what we need to take care of the economy is we need to get people back to work. And what we should have done was take that tax cut and give it to the 250,000 wage earner and below, let it expire for the ultra-rich, and then take that money and apply it to job creation. What we need in this country is jobs. That's what we need, jobs.
The president apparently has brought into the right-wing bullet point that the economy would tank if he didn't do this, that he just had to do this, and he wasn't going to let middle-class families go without this tax rate.
Well, look, I'm sympathetic, Ed, to the president's desire to protect the millions of people that are on unemployment insurance, but I don't think he got the deal he should get. He didn't even get a dollar-for-dollar deal. The ultra-rich are going to make out like bandits for 2 years, and we're going to extend tax cuts for 13 months, extend unemployment, for 18 months or 13 months. Then we'll have to come back and have that fight again.
What's the conversation going to be like, Mr. Gerard, in 2 years, in your opinion?
I think the conversation is going to be Republicans yelling and screaming that they need tax cuts for the rich, and we're still going to have too many unemployed, and we're going to be fighting again for jobs. We need to take the tax cut for the ultra-rich, let it rescind, take the money they're going to pay, and put it into job creation. People want to get back to work. That's what they want.
President Obama clearly had anguish. He was anguished by this tonight. Does this weaken his presidency, and does it hurt his chances for 2012?
I think it does both, Ed, and when I say it does both, I think in some cases it shows to the country that he's empathetic and is willing to make some sacrifice and take some hits to make sure that the unemployed aren't left on the scrap heaps of society. Yeah. But at the same time, we want him to fight. We're willing to stand side by side, shoulder to shoulder, and fight with him for those things. And we need to expose these Republicans for the hypocrites that they are.
Mr. Gerard, always a pleasure. Good to have you with us speaking up tonight. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Ed.
Joan Walsh, editor-at-large, Salon.com. Joan, the winners and the losers. Draw the line.
Oh, my God. Tonight, Dick Cheney and George W. Bush are yucking it up. They're having a party because this president and this Democratic Congress seems to be enshrining the worst decision that those Republicans made. Remember, they did it with a gimmick. They would expire. Remember, they did it with Dick Cheney's vote. And our allegedly progressive president is letting this happen. I'm with Mr. Gerard. Sometimes you fight, and even if you lose, it's worth fighting. We live in an oligarchy right now, Ed. We really do.
Yeah.
Where we got some money for the unemployed, and I'm happy about the payroll tax cuts. But what we did to get that is deliver more money, bushels of money to the wealthiest Americans.
The White House can say what they want about the professional left. When my BlackBerry's blowing up tonight, our email to our Ed Schultz radio show, it's a record number. Liberals are mad about this. They wanted this fight. And the president made the case about 2 million Americans were going to be hurt. What about the 4 million Americans that are 99ers that have nothing on the table?
Nothing.
How much is this going to politically hurt the Democrats?
You know, I think it does hurt the Democrats because now people really don't know what the Democrats stand for, Ed. And the other thing that this sets up, because we're going to borrow money and give it to the wealthiest Americans, this really sets the president and the Democrats up in the new Congress, which is a more conservative Congress, for more spending cuts. We're increasing the deficit again. So we're going to come back and we're going to be facing spending cuts. It means we can't spend any money on job creation, on putting people back to work, when we know this is a disastrous. If we have a recovery at all, it's a jobless recovery. Yeah. Unemployment is going up. This ensures we can't do anything about that. So Democrats, once again, do not deliver for their base. They let their hands be tied behind their backs. They stand for very little. Yeah. And the Republicans are having a big party tonight. That's what's going on.
Joan Walsh, always a pleasure to get your take. Great to have you with us.
Thanks,
Thank you.